Hello and welcome to the Random Pinoy Geek podcast, the show where we geek out to 3 random topics until the timer runs out. I'm your random host, Elvin, and with me are
Jaya!
And Freddie.
We're friends and geeks who grew up in the Philippines, and in each episode we hang out and talk about things that are near and dear to all our little geeky hearts. But before we start, if you'd like to support the show and are a content creator ready to take the next step in your journey, check out episodify.com. They'll help produce and edit any content you're creating, whether it's audio or video, short form or long form. They'll do it all. That's episodify.com. You might also notice that we are missing a vital portion of we're missing 1/3 of our regular geeks.
A heart is a vital organ, so
It is a vital organ.
Missing one geeky heart.
One geeky heart, yeah. We got hit. We're taking damage, but for those that play Binding of Isaac, we have a steel heart to replace that red heart. So we have Freddie here, our special guest. Welcome, Freddie.
And if you're wondering, we did not kidnap Freddie for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. We actually set him free.
No, don't worry. He has ample room to run around. He has fresh water, beautiful seeds.
Seeds, what?
Seeds, to eat. It's like eat
And a bird back.
in a bird
I'm not vegan.
Yeah. No, but seriously, so Freddie is the president of Ludos Distributors, a local game distributor company, as well as the founder of Neutral Grounds, a pillar of geek culture here at least in the Philippines. And we welcome him to our show.
I'm actually curious, what is Ludos registered as? I'm just curious how Philippine stuff works. Is it gaming imported?
No, it's just registered as a company that engages in trading and importing.
Importers.
So it's when you register
Technically,
companies
you
here,
can
you don't
anything.
you don't need to specify a lot of things. But if you want to, let's say, start importing food, then you have to get a permit to import food.
And alcohol. Ayan.
So yes, so those will fall under, like, if it's food, then you have to, I guess you have to go with the Food and Drugs Administration.
Yeah.
If you want to bring in certain things, then you have to go to the a relevant government agency. But as far as registering the company,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter
I
if you're
think
just
there
doing
was a
trading.
point where they wanted, I don't know if this was a rumor or something, that the government was making a mistake with cards and that they wanted to go we wanted Magic to go under gambling or something. Was that a rumor? Or?
It's not a rumor because it's a common misconception. Because when you mention gaming in the Philippines, a lot of people in the government immediately assume
Gambling.
that it's gambling.
Yeah.
And it's not just the government, it's actually the Philippines. If you notice,
The e-games.
Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation.
Yeah.
But actually, the name is very generic.
It sounds like it's an amusement park.
But it's actually just there to regulate
Facilitate.
gambling activity.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the confusion happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, a long time ago, when
Yes, I
we
remember
first
this.
started a company, we tried to put games in the name of the company,
But it was a...
and then they just said, you probably don't want to do that. Are you engaging in gambling? No. Then just don't put that in your name.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, fortunately, lately, it's been, that's no longer an issue. So you will see stores like hobby stores with the word games
In the
and
registered
yes,
name.
in the registered name, and they no longer have that problem.
Okay, that's nice to hear. It's just funny because I heard that a lot where there might be that, like, Magic might be taxed because it's blah blah blah. That rumors from before.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So when it comes to games, it always, whenever there's whenever we talk about money, people get concerned about like making sure that the government gets their cut. But we remember a time when games was really fun and just really
wait, the
something
gambling part or
no, just actual games that we play, not the gambling part. I can't actually stand gambling.
really?
It's because as Freddie mentioned in an episode prior, maybe or future, there's a we don't time does not exist in the random Pinoy Geek podcast, but
Like Lost.
yeah,
Anyway.
like Lost, where I like it when there's a fair chance to win, but most gambling is favored
Yeah.
to the house.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I
There's ways to. And
there are
there's ways to go
yeah,
around it, but,
there are games that are better, that have better odds, but
Not really. There's ways around it, but it's not a way that the
That's
casino
illegal.
will
tolerate.
You will be escorted out.
Yeah.
No, but like for example, for roulette, because it's you just what's that? Black and
Red.
Black and red and,
and
a
then
number.
there's a technique there where you, let's say it's 20 pesos, so you bet 20. If you lose, you bet 40. If you lose, you bet 80. So you always double until you win. And then after you win,
Mhm.
you go back to 20. If you win at 20, then you go back to. So every time you win, you go back to 20. Every time you lose, you double. So it's a slow way of winning, but it essentially guarantees you win unless that
You
20
run out of
goes
money.
out to 1 million and you still haven't
The-
won, which is very unlikely.
Actually, the problem with gambling, like for example, roulette. Roulette
Mhm.
is actually a game where the odds are almost 50-50.
Yeah,
almost
almost, yeah.
50-50. But there's actually 49% because there's
Mm.
a one number there that doesn't have red or black.
Mm,
And that's how you lose.
Yeah.
And the house only needs
that one.
that 1% because the house has technically unlimited money.
Yeah,
Because
true.
but you have limited money.
Mm.
So the problem with gambling is you can play that 49%, but eventually you will get to a point where you're out of money and then in Filipino parlance, naubusan ka na ng bala.
Yeah.
You don't have any more bullets to fire. So you cannot recoup, get it back. But the house has unlimited money. So eventually you will reach that point where you will lose that big stack of yours. But the house,
Yeah.
is still around.
But I get that. For especially for people that really would like winning, I get why
Gambling is not for you.
gambling is not for you. But at the same time, one of the biggest things that I don't like about gambling is the fact that I dislike that it doesn't have a lot of choices.
Yes.
So you have your choices are very limited,
Mhm.
and so there's not good choices that you can make, that good decision making. So
I mean,
I like
in
games.
Texas Hold'em, I guess that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of unacceptable
Yeah. In Hold'em, because in Hold'em you're playing against
players.
You're not playing against the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most casino games, you're playing against the house.
How
exactly.
does Texas Hold'em and casinos work? Because how do they make money from that?
There's a rate. That's how they get you.
There's a
Because in casinos, when you play Texas Hold'em, every pot they will take a percentage. which means-
Oh,
Which means if everybody's playing equally well, only the house wins.
I didn't know that.
You get what I mean?
They
Because-
take from every pot.
Yeah, every pot they'll take a certain percentage. That's how the house wins with Texas Hold'em.
Mm.
So the only way for you to win in Texas Hold'em, if you're playing in a casino instead of
Is
house
to
game,
take from other people.
is the other players have to be really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's this. Well, yeah, and that's why I feel that gambling games aren't really as fun games. But they're like, I'm sure there are games like in our childhood that we played that, like things that you enjoyed, but aren't really games per se. So I guess what I'm asking is, like, for my topic, I'd like to find out, do you have or could you share like a game that you used to play? Something like an invented game or a game that you just played with, like with your friends or your neighbors. Like for me, we had a game that we used to play before where it's like the basic RPG because we'd put the names of a superhero on our pad paper
Mhm.
and then we'd have like little lines for our life. And then we'd run around with a piece of paper and then we'd like punch. And then if I said, oh, I block your punch. But if you don't get blocked, I'll like take down his life.
But
It's so
Why-
basic.
But you just block everything, no?
Yeah. But then if somebody punches you from behind, you can't block that. That's where arguments start. Then the
That's
real
right.
punching happens. but I'm just saying that's just an example. That's not the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
game that I enjoy playing. But honestly, one of the things that an actual game that from my childhood, like and from school, that you have a paper, and I'm sure you all know this. You have a
Oh, the one
ballpoint
with the
pen.
pen, the with the
And
base.
Yes, and you have a
slide the-
base.
you
You
slide
have a
the pen.
exactly. You have a base
Who
that you put
invented
there.
that, and why does everyone know that?
The stars versus circles.
Yeah. Well, you have your Sometimes if you're cool, you have star, but actually star is bad because
Yep.
Bigger.
it's bigger and it's an
Easier.
Oh,
easier
you just
target.
learn how to draw it really small.
Yeah, or my I had a classmate who would do asterisk. It's like, wait, that's cheating because it's just little like
Mhm.
X's. And it's like, it should be a circle or a star.
No, but seriously, who invented that, and why does everyone know that game?
I wonder if kids nowadays still play that with all the gadgets. Probably not.
Probably
No.
not, but
It's still fun though.
it is
Yeah.
because it's essentially a
For a
dexterity game.
kid, especially,
Mhm.
right? We also had this, and I'm sure.
And here
we
I
did
thought our first topic was going to be about gambling.
it. Well, I mean, you can gamble with that game.
But it can gamble with anything.
The
But
The other thing we had was like you made like a dungeon,
uh-huh.
and you had like a piece of paper, and you hold the paper like this, like.
and then you had a ball,
And no, there's a like a you take
tear a
a
piece, and
small
then you
piece
make
of
it to a
paper.
ball.
No, you don't make it to a
Oh,
ball. You
okay.
tap it to go through the
Oh
maze.
yeah, okay.
It's really hard.
Ours was a ball. So you get the piece of the paper, you roll it into a ball, you put it on the thing, and then you have to balance it and make the ball roll. When it goes off the wall or hits a wall and goes through a wall, you died.
Yeah,
So you have
something
to-
like that as well, but with a
Mm.
floating piece of
But
paper.
Freddie is like the more classic of our geeks, so he should.
Something older. What, like Sungka?
Well,
No,
like an invented
here's
game.
something weird that probably both of you never played. Back in school, we used to play. You remember, dodgeball.
Yep.
Mhm.
So dodgeball, instead of using balls, we used the bunot.
Oh, wow,
The
really?
coconut
Like
husks.
That's
half of it, or like
Yeah,
what you
You
use to
use the
scrub the
coconut
floor.
husk, but we only throw it. We slide it across the floor, and
Oh,
we just
okay.
have
I
to.
thought you just
okay.
threw the coconut.
It's thrown. He said dodgeball, so it's like we were
So
like,
it's
that's a
still kind
hard
of like
thing.
dodgeball, but you don't
I
have
think
to.
we because remember I lived in
Yeah.
an island, which so we're technically like 5 years
Mhm.
behind. So I think I saw some people still
Playing
play
with the
that.
coconut husks.
Yeah.
And then
'Cause
just
you-
sliding it across the floor.
in our school, which was not a public school, but still after class
Mhm.
there's cleaners.
Yeah.
So once the chairs are put aside,
Exactly.
they do that.
Exactly. Because if you're assigned as cleaners, really don't want to clean. You want to play because the other kids are playing. So you just invent stuff.
Also, that's when you played it as well.
Yeah.
When you're cleaning.
We're actually cleaning the floor.
yeah,
We're sliding the
It's like soccer.
bunot across the. It's kind of like soccer.
It's soccer.
But
Yeah.
but it's dodgeball.
Yeah, in the different types of games that you have like that, it usually starts with there's something that we have, and you
Mhm.
notice a lot of it is with school because in school you're limited.
Yep.
It's kind of like the prison for children. So
Mhm.
in prison you have a limited thing that you can do, and you're stuck there for an extended period of time.
Mhm.
So with your cellmates, you have to decide
What to
create
do with it.
certain different ways to enjoy yourself. And one of them is that you start making these games.
Oh, but did you have
dexterity
a
games.
version of dodgeball wherever you guys were?
Frisbee. We used frisbee.
But what's the rule? Like,
So if you throw the frisbee, and then if you get hit by, there's people in the middle, right? And then there's two sides. So you throw the frisbee. If you get hit with the frisbee, you're out. You can also it's pretty much basic dodgeball rules, but you're using frisbees.
You have to catch.
okay.
And
Yeah,
we didn't use frisbees. We used the
Paper plate.
no. We used the cover of the Magnolia ice cream.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
because
makes
those
sense, that
things
makes sense.
fly like
Yeah, yeah.
frisbees.
Yes.
We have something similar, but we use tennis balls, and we had slightly modified rules. Like if you throw and no one gets hit, then you switch. The people
Mm.
throwing are
Mhm.
now the people at the center. But you can throw a high ball, and
As
that's
a
fine.
pass.
Mhm.
That's just a pass to the other. So you want to keep throwing high balls until the people in the center are tired from looking back and forth, and then you throw at them. Yeah. So
And,
until you run through everyone.
and a lot of those games are really exercise if you think
Mhm.
about it.
Oh,
Um,
is that why you don't have good answers?
no, it's because really that's really exercise. And the funny thing is, I never really learned a lot of these things except through Batibot.
Mm.
So Batibot is like where I'd find, oh, what's this? Tumbang Preso. So Tumbang Preso is a game where you have old cans, right? You set it up and then you use your slippers to hit them. It's bowling, except you have instead of pins, you have cans. Instead of a ball, you have your slippers. And I didn't really know how to do the rules for that,
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's one
they
thing.
did show a lot
Mm.
of that.
In Batibot, yeah, then that's how like
Kuya
oh, it's
Boji
good.
lives like 4 houses away from my house, by the way. So we need to accidentally run into him one day and invite him to the podcast.
Podcast. Yeah. But did you guys play anything similar to the games that are on table? Like not necessarily sports games, but pretend games. Like the
Oh, like,
star thing
The
or
what? Sorry.
the ball pen game.
On
like that.
table?
Like yeah, table
I mean the tapping paper thing kind of.
tapping paper. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
well, when I was a kid, I made up this pirate game.
Mm-hmm.
We used components from different games that suck.
Yeah.
We didn't like. So, and then I made up. I just used pieces of paper, drew something on it, created stats, and then you could with the pirate ships, you could recruit more crew, you could get more ships, you could get treasure. And end of the game, it's just whoever has the most treasure,
Mhm.
and then you're recruiting monsters, and then you get to fight the
So
other
cool.
pirates.
Yeah, this is wait. On a side note, that sort of triggered a memory here. Do you remember a game back in the 90s or late 90s, early 2000s, maybe, where it was pirate themed and the packs had ships in them?
Yeah, Pirates of the Spanish Main. It's a game by WizKids, and you have to assemble
Assemble the
the
ship.
ships.
Like you open
Yeah.
the pack
Mm.
and then you find out what you got, and then you build the ship using the cards in the pack.
Mhm.
And then when you're done, you sort of put them away and then you put them back into
Yep.
the pack.
Oh, that's risky.
That was actually a very innovative and fun thing. Unfortunately, it didn't really last too long. I think it maybe had 3 or 4 expansions.
Oh, it had expansions.
Yeah,
I
it had
didn't know-
expansions.
I
So
thought it was
the
just like
first
a
one
and
was
done.
just pirate ships, and the second there was an expansion with the mostly American ships.
Like the Interceptor.
Yeah, like is it modern ships? Like
No.
oh,
It's
okay,
still around that time.
Oh, okay. Still
Mm.
like the golden
wooden
age of-
galleons
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that. And the ships had different sizes too.
So
So
like,
there
This
were like
came out
big
after
ships.
Pirates of the Caribbean. It might have been bigger.
I think that's part
Or is
of
that, yeah, right?
the reason why they came up with it.
Oh, it was.
It was when did the
I don't
first
think-
Pirates of the Caribbean?
I'm not sure when
I think
when did the first
2004. The first
yeah, but
Pirates.
Viramal burned down in like 90.
No, not
7.
90.
I know, but that's
Really?
when I remember.
Oh,
I
no, because
remember
Viramal burned twice. And I'm
I
remembering
think
the
it's
second
probably
one.
early 2000s.
maybe to early 2000s. But yeah, that's something I remember when you said that you got stuff. But I think that's also a common thing where you'd get your toys and then you'd make something out of it, especially if you don't have neighbors or if you don't have neighborhood kids. So you have to make like solitaire games or games that you can play alone. I guess if you went to a Chinese school, you would know as well other games, but that's more of gambling, the mooncake thing.
But dice game.
It's a dice game.
Just
Yeah,
gambling.
it's not
just
exactly gambling
But-
because nobody, it's hosted by one person, and then usually the host is the one spending for all the prizes.
That's true. That's true. It's the
Yeah.
So
opposite.
it's not necessarily gambling. It's more like, oh, somebody's doing
A
up a
raffle.
bingo,
yes,
or raffle.
yes, it's a raffle.
so it's
True.
kind of like that. So you're not actually losing money,
Mm.
except for the host.
except for the host,
It's like
which
the
is
house
kind of like
always
running a
loses.
party.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's like a house party with extra steps.
Yeah.
Where you have to like if you had a like a dinner party, and then at the start of the dinner party you roll initiative to find out who eats
Yeah.
first, who gets the first crack at the buffet table, and then whenever he misses the roll, he
The
stops.
Yeah.
Then the next person goes in and starts, roll to a carved chicken or something.
Oh wait, the thing with the stars and the base, that's
Yeah.
like you start with 10 ships, right? And then you
No,
how
no,
did you
you
play
don't.
it?
You start with just the base, and
Yeah.
then when you fire, that new star or that new circle will be able to spawn new stars and
Exactly.
stars.
Yeah.
But if the line I generate from flinging or flicking that pen crosses an opponent's piece, then that piece dies.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's how we did it. Except you have in your base, you had like 10
Mhm.
ships.
Oh.
So what it's like not fighting, but it's like a ship going.
Yeah.
So when you do that, your ship is now there.
Mhm.
Your ship is now here. So it's the first person to eliminate all the other person's ships.
For us, it's more of a connection.
Mhm.
If you break a connection, you can't. It breaks the line. So when you have the ship here, and then it goes out, and you create a line from your base essentially of these
Mhm.
ships. When your opponent breaks one of those ships, everything after that gets eliminated. So you can't
You
spawn
don't need
from
to
there
hit
anymore.
the
Okay.
end ship.
It seems like each of us played a different version of
Yeah,
it.
because ours you can actually deploy all your 10 ships if you want. But it's like you can be an easier target. But also if you can have 10 ships spread across the map
Is
and
it
then attack from
is yours is alternating, like my turn, I
Yeah.
flip your turn, right? Because for us, we don't do spread out because generally you want to establish like a
No, because
position
yours
in the middle.
you can hit the line.
Yeah.
Ours you actually have to hit the ship. So it's harder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we also have to hit the ship, but technically the ships are infinite. So the ships can spawn new ships, and then the goal is to be able to reach the other base and then hit the base.
Hit the base, yeah. But ours has shields. So you have to hit the shield generator
several
first.
times.
No, you just hit, there's two. One on each side. Destroy one shield generator, destroy the other shield generator. Then you can go hit the base.
So ours is there is a benefit to going to the base because, like, for example, if someone kept ships on the base, you can attack the ships that are in the what do you call that, the hangar.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so
Actually,
that's also why you might want to deploy.
the thing is, bases change sizes also because sometimes you have a small base, sometimes you have a large base. But here's the thing: the idea is your bases are damaged by your pen. So what happens is if you flick and you break the paper,
Mhm.
right? That's a miss. So that goes away. The problem is if you flick from your base,
Oh yeah, I remember that you can tear. The pen can go through the paper. So what
Sometimes.
happens when that?
for us, when you break the paper, that shot misses. If you break your paper from the base, your base is gone.
I don't even know what the name of that game is.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know the name of that game.
I don't think the game has a
Shooting
name.
Stars?
Probably.
Is it possibly Shooting Stars?
That would
Maybe.
be
No.
a good name because you have stars that shoot.
Yeah,
But
and
I
the thing-
don't remember it having a name.
Exactly. We don't remember it. And the thing is, for that size, the reason why some people have big bases is because when it's big, it's easier for you to safely like flick
Mhm.
from position because it's safer. But the problem with the big base, it's easy to hit
Hit,
because
yeah.
it's easy. It's a big target.
I'll find the name of that game and we'll feature it.
Yeah, and then there's a tiny or if you have a small base, it's hard to hit. But then eventually that tiny point where you're just shooting out of, it gets damaged enough to the point where the
Here's
paper
a question.
breaks.
Did you ever see this game played in like a movie or something that's not Filipino? I guess the question is this game Filipino?
I don't think I've seen it.
I don't
In
know. I don't.
A foreign.
I don't remember seeing it in any movie.
Like
Actually,
Yeah.
in E.T.?
Have you seen it in a Filipino movie?
I think I have. Like in not even an old movie, like a 90s or 2000s. No, a 2000s indie movie that was set in the 80s or 90s.
maybe like a retro.
So like
thing.
super indie, it was in your philo class and the teacher wanted like, something like that.
Yeah,
Speaking of games in movies,
yeah.
and going to my next topic, there's this movie I saw recently in Netflix where the main character actually played Magic the Gathering.
Oh, which
Interesting.
is
It's a
that?
Filipino movie,
Oh, okay.
and they were playing in Green Hills.
in the 90s.
No,
Okay.
it's like 2020s.
Okay,
Is it in neutral grounds?
No,
Or-
they
or
were
they're
playing,
football?
I think, on the hallway
the hallway.
of Shopsville,
What?
which is really weird because if you know where that place is, you're not supposed to be hanging around in the hallway.
They're not
Yeah.
supposed to be filming in the hallway too.
Well, they probably got their permit. They probably paid the Green Hills Shopping
Oh, what
Center.
movie is this?
I can't even remember the title because somebody just told me, "Hey, look, there's Magic the Gathering in this movie on Netflix." So I just okay, what? Show me where the time stamp is, and I'll just
So
go
you
straight to
didn't
there.
even watch the movie.
I didn't watch the movie. Just went to
You
straight to the.
you didn't want the context, like maybe like they're saying, at the start, I was always a Magic player, but Carlos sat beside me that day.
And then they have these made up Magic cards, Magic the Gathering cards.
Oh, so it wasn't.
They weren't show. You knew they were playing Magic, but during the movie when they tried to focus on a card and then
It's
show
fake.
its effect, they had made up cards.
But like from afar, it
You know it was
it's
magic. And then, but it's really weird because they were playing Magic, but there were some shots where the guy was holding actually Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, what the? Okay, this doesn't make sense.
I don't get why they felt like they needed to do that. Is the thing. Like, is it like is Wizards? Well,
No.
Wizards is very liberal with people using their.
I think when you're, I think when you're using something like somebody else's intellectual property, it's better to be safe than sorry, or at the very least, ask permission first.
I guess, but like Wizards says yes all the time. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
they would, but I don't think
They thought yeah,
they would bother with it for a Filipino.
or maybe
production.
they did it on purpose to like get the Magic Yu-Gi-Oh Pokemon community.
Yeah,
to
but
watch
no, but
the
when
movie.
you were they focused on a card, you knew the format was a Magic the Gathering card.
But so what's the topic? Sorry.
It's
that-
Magic the Gathering.
Oh, Magic the
So
Gathering.
do you remember the first deck you made?
I believe because I think we all played like proto decks that we but the actual first deck that you thought of, like, okay, this is a deck that I want to make. I believe it was Pestilence,
Pestilence.
black,
Mhm.
white Pestilence, and there's this gargoyle that was protection from black.
Mhm.
And that was my combo. I had the knights, the Order of Leetbor.
Order of Leetbor. Yeah.
Yeah. A white knights,
The
Order of
2/1.
Leetbor.
2/1 protection from black,
Yeah, exactly.
and you can make it bigger with white mana.
Yes, but that doesn't matter. It's just there so that pestilence won't go away.
Mhm.
And then Circle of Protection Black.
Yep.
So that was the first deck that I made.
I have a super bad answer.
Eh?
No, because I played with I played with old cards ever since. Like I know all the old cards, etc. But I started late,
Mhm.
so my first deck was a morph deck. It was really bad. Like
Morph?
so, all you did was play morph creatures, and then like you had something that had a counter spell. Just lame.
It's like Onslaught, or what was
Onslaught, yeah.
Yeah, that's the first set.
And
that
then there's
had
an artifact
more
that
ability.
reduces morph cost.
Yeah.
Not morph cost. The cost to play morph creatures. It's called
Ixidor's? Oh no, Dream Chisel.
Dream Chisel. Yeah.
With the
Dream
current
Chisel.
set, Morph is now called Disguise.
But this guy is different because
It is,
Yeah.
but
But
it
it's
is
almost
still
same.
almost the same.
this guy is like, if it's a creature, you can pay its mana cost to flip it.
Mhm.
Whereas Morph, can only pay using the Morph cost.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh, do you know why that was my first deck?
Why?
Because Dream Chisel is the only rare. You can buy it for 20 pesos each.
Okay.
And the rest of the cards were you just ask the shop and they just give it to you. So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
My first deck was a green-white deck because it was really cheap to build, and it's basically just lots of small creatures. So I'd like to get early damage in, and then just do a big hurricane to finish the game. So it was really inefficient, but it got the job done in the early days
yeah.
because people didn't figure out that small creatures actually still do damage, and during that time, a lot of people were focusing on Shiban dragons
Or
and
Namjin.
big stuff. And
But actually, my favorite green creature at the time was like Whirling Dervish. If you
Mhm,
remember,
yeah.
Whirling Dervish is like a 1/1 for 2.
no,
that-
it's for 2 mana, yeah,
For 2
green.
mana. 1/1 for 2. That's protection from black, I think.
Mhm.
And then whenever it deals damage, it gets a
Gets
+1/+1
+1/+1.
counter. So it's like, it can grow infinitely. And the other thing that I really like was from Ice Age. It's a white creature called Blinking Spirit.
Oh yeah,
When I didn't understand how spells work, I thought that's 0, return to your hand. Oh, okay, I cast it. Counter spell. I return it to my hand. Is that how it works? Hey, it says return to my hand. It says 0. Don't have to pay mana for it. But of course
Yeah.
that's not how it worked. But yeah, it's
Oh, I have a better answer. My second deck.
uh-huh.
My second deck was a Ravager deck. So I've been playing Magic for like months. And my second deck was a Ravager deck, which I took to regionals, which was my first
Mhm.
major tournament, and I got third place. And then took it to nationals.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, that's when you were getting serious.
yeah, but that was like I've been playing for like 3 months. That's why it's a big deal for me to
Mhm.
get third place in region. Because the only reason, by the way, I got third place is I didn't know the rules. Because back then, top 8 in regionals goes to nationals, right? So it was like before the last round, my opponent asked me to draw because we were gonna both get top 8 anyway, and I was like, I don't want to draw. I want to win booster packs, and I played, and so I won. That's why I got so high. We were gonna be like 8, maybe
Mhm.
7, 8, 9, maybe, but yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. After the green-white deck, I made the red-green deck. That's when
Mhm.
I started trying to get serious and get better cards.
Mhm.
So the red-green deck, back then, we didn't research from the internet. There was this magazine called Duelist Magazine.
Oh,
And then, so I saw this red-green deck that I kind of liked.
Yeah.
So it was made by Bertrand Lestre,
Mhm.
a French player. He didn't win first place, but I really did like the red-green. So he had curd apes, tigers,
Oh yeah, it's
stuff
big
like that.
stuff. Yeah.
I think when was the last time I saw curd? Up to like a few years ago,
Mhm.
people still used curd apes.
Yeah, it's still one
Mm.
red for a 2/3.
Yeah.
No, not anymore. But
Yeah. It's not
oh,
as good.
before Swift Spears, there were still curd apes,
Yeah.
and then Swift Spears.
Just much better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because of the haste.
It's a
Yeah.
little bit better, not much better.
Because of the haste.
Yeah. I remember the next deck that I made from that. It's this like red, white, and blue monstrosity that
Mhm.
had
Earn-
Island Sanctuary, Fire Blast, Lightning Bolt,
Mahamoti jeans.
not Mahamoti Jins. What was that? I had air
Oh, okay.
metal because I didn't have Mahamoti Jins, but it was like a white, red, and blue deck. And because at the time I remember I had dual lands, so I had like a volcanic island and a what's the
Did the
white?
volcanic island also cost 500 back then,
I think so
or was
No, I think earlier,
because this
when
was
Revise just came out, I remember dual lands going for 200-300 pesos.
Oh,
yeah. I was playing without sleeves. I had 3
Yep.
dual lands in that deck.
Yeah, I had Moxes and I was playing without sleeves
Yeah,
because back then
but the sleeves were
sleeves
not
were
really-
not allowed
how much
during
was a
tournaments.
box back then?
I bought mine from the States, so I got it for I think $70 or $90.
It's still
Oh,
expensive.
Yeah, it
That's
wasn't
pretty
It
expensive.
wasn't cheap.
it wasn't cheap,
But what
but
year was
it's
this?
not the same like what
No,
you know
of course,
how
of course not.
Yeah,
how much
but
it
what
costs
was
these
what
days.
year was this?
Probably 95.
So it was
96.
already dollar was already 40, 50, not 25 anymore.
No, it was
No,
still 20
25.
something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 97.
I think it hit
It's around 96,
97 when the
97,
Asian
yeah.
financial crisis
Yeah.
Yeah.
happened. That's when it got to 40
That's
something.
crazy.
Yeah, it's like
Suddenly double.
the peso depreciated by half.
Yeah, you used to play without sleeves. We used to play without, like, if you play the card on
Mhm.
going back to your story, on the floor. Were they just playing
Yep.
on the floor?
No, I didn't play on the floor. I played in the office.
Okay. Sorry. Because we were in high school.
Yeah.
You'd be on the floor. You'd play on the sidewalk.
Wait, sorry. 95? You were already working?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought you'd be a little bit younger. Sorry.
No, I just yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
surprising.
I actually remember bringing that pestilence. Sorry, not the pestilence deck. I remember bringing a different deck. I think it was a green. I think green black because I had the force of nature. I brought it to was it your house or somebody else's house?
Somebody else's house, a friend's house, a common friend's house.
And that brought me over. It's like, hey, they're playing card games here. So okay,
Yeah.
that's the card game that you play. Because my aunt's like,
Wait, your dad wasn't playing any of the games?
No.
Ah.
It's of the devil. Um, They bought me the cards. That's the thing. They bought me the cards. The thing is, I remember I went there because I got a Christmas gift. There's this old gift box of Magic the Gathering.
With the novel.
Not a novel. It came with a rule book. It was the picture on the front is like the Vesuvian doppelganger.
Mhm.
It had a bag filled with beads.
I think
Angel
I know what
glass,
you're
like
talking
glass,
about.
yeah.
I think
And
I
then there's
remember
like there's an angel in the front, and then the back is the Vesuvian doppelganger art, and then there's two decks that you sort of play
I
against
think
each other.
that's when those beads were dubbed Angel Tears.
Oh, okay. Because there was like
because there was an
the
angel
blue,
there.
maybe. And the thing is that I remember bringing like, oh, I now have more cards. I'm going to make a deck. And I remember going there, and then it's like, Force of Nature. And then somebody played like a Meek Stone. It's like, no, my awesome Force of Nature. Because I wasn't doing anything.
not
Land.
doing anything.
Land. I remember there's like land. People were doing all. Because I think there's like a large chaos game. It's like a multiple
Chaos.
people.
It used to be called Chaos.
Yeah. I think at that party I was there, and owner of the house also played Magic, Leon, and then I'm almost certain Pablo Bayran of Cosplay Mania was probably there also. I'm not sure. And then several other
Yeah, there's a
folks
lot
played
of
Magic. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like a single game around like I guess it's like a poker table
But
ish.
I don't remember it being a chaos game. But that's maybe my memory.
Maybe Elvin just thought it was.
Oh no, because I know it was a chaos because there was more than 4 people playing,
Mhm.
and it's like okay, I spent like 8 turns or 7, no 6 turns getting the Force of Nature out because it's like 3 colorless, 3 red, 3 green,
Three
right?
green.
I just realized something.
Yeah.
Chaos is the what do you call it now? ADH of before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Even back then, we were playing multiplayer Magic, and I even made specific decks to play
To play Chaos.
multiplayer.
But did
because-
you actually play Chaos with Chaos rules? Where you like if you're lightning bolts, it's a random target.
Oh
no.
No, it's actually
It's targeted, and
Mm.
and my specific deck for multiplayer was a green Tron deck.
Hmm.
So basically, again, the strategy
Did they
is
call it Tron before? Probably not.
probably not. Ursulans
Or
is
is it
green.
Tron?
Yeah.
So the strategy was the whole game. I just like stream of life, big stream of life, big stream of life, big stream of life, and then eventually I would finish the game off with a big hurricane.
Hmm. So it's still the same thing you would do now with some decks, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just more complex.
And for targeted damage, I would do. There was this bad artifact called the rocket launcher.
This card I don't
So
know.
pay 2, deal 1 damage to specific target,
At
and
the
then
end
you
of
can do
turn.
it infinitely.
Yes. And then at the end
At
of
the end
turn,
of turn, the rocket launcher explodes.
berries.
Yeah, buries. But during that turn,
Oh, does it
you
actually
can
say birds?
do as many targets as you have
2 mana.
mana divided by 2.
It's a 4 to cast artifact.
Yeah.
Pay 2
This
colorless.
was the only card mentioned today that I didn't know.
Rocket launcher.
Rocket
Because it's a
launcher.
really bad card. Nobody would play it. Even back then.
Is it Alliance? Did
Huh?
it come out Alliance or
No, I'm not sure.
or
Do
Chronicles?
people use this for EDH now?
No,
No.
it's really bad. Because
Because there's better things to
Yes,
do with unlimited mana.
Yes,
I guess.
they're actual good cards. This one's like I guess it's colorless, so anybody can do it.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's still a win. If you needed one more win condition and your deck is an ultimate unlimited mana deck, and you had that lying around,
I
then
don't
why
think so.
Oh,
not?
it's from the revised set. It's
Oh,
a
it's revised.
base. It's from the base set.
Base set. Okay, cool.
It's really bad. Rocket launcher, 4 to cast, 2 mana, do 1 damage to any target. But the cool thing is, if you have lots of mana in multiplayer,
Yeah.
which tends to happen,
Yep.
especially if you're playing with the Ursulans, then you have a viable threat that you can spot.
Oh, I actually know
destroy
the art. I just
specificness.
didn't know that was that card.
Yeah,
I've seen that art.
yeah. It's
It's the art that looks like fire breathing.
Yeah. I
it's
know
an
that
orc
art.
carrying a rocket launcher that looks like a dragon.
Yeah, I've seen that art.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just thought that were going to talk about a different 2 mana thing called there's this grape shot catapult, which is just like
that one people use.
just
up to now.
it's just like hurricane because you like hurricane people, and it's the same thing except it's a hurricane for 2 mana, and then if you pay like too many, it explodes. I can't remember
I
exactly.
guess you can also do that with an earthquake.
That's true. That's
Like,
true.
it damages everyone.
But when you're talking about card games, you also want to talk about like newer card games, even though there's like a lot of that's a blast from our past when it comes to like classic Magic. But if you're talking about newer card games, you can talk about one of our sponsors, is Flesh and Blood. Flesh and Blood is a trading card game set in a lore-rich fantasy world full of valiant heroes. The game rewards good decisions, not good luck. It's highly interactive, with actions beginning from the very first turn. It's published by Legendary Story Studios, an independent game design studio based in Auckland, New Zealand. Their core mission is to bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games.
Oh, that's actually their thing. Oh.
Yeah, that's why it's called Flesh and Blood, because they want people to play in the flesh and
In the
blood.
Flesh and Blood.
Yes.
I bet you like $1,000 eventually they'll have an app.
Uh, actually, the CEO is vehemently
Against that.
Oh,
idea.
wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
And
creator
that's
of the
really
game.
why he named it Flesh and Blood.
Wow.
Because
So-
he doesn't like the online.
And so far, he's also vehemently against going public, because he knows that the moment the company goes public, he loses control, and that is going to happen.
And it goes, yeah.
Although
That's
there are fan apps of like where you can play online,
I mean,
but it's more for a testing perspective
Mhm.
rather than anything like actual playing. But
I mean,
it's
you
still
can-
the
you can
flesh
do
and
that
blood
with a
thing.
webcam. And,
Exactly. The flesh
a
and
piece
blood
of
thing
paper.
is thing. Maybe we'll have a topic in the future. But for this episode, though, JR, what's your topic?
We're going heavy geek this time, so I'm gonna talk about board games. Like, what
Mhm.
are your favorites? The ones you like to hate.
Mhm.
The famous ones that you think suck. That's a big one,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I want to start with a famous game that I just don't like,
Mhm.
which is Catan, because
Mhm.
I mean I like Catan. I actually no. Okay, so like Catan, the anniversary one, the one with 3D parts, I actually want to get for the heck of it. But like, if you're playing Catan competitively, I think it sucks. Catan itself.
Well, because it's a solved game. We know, well, not solved, but
I
we
think
know
it
the
is, though,
optimal. We
right?
know the
Like,
optimal strategy already.
Yeah.
I'm curious because you know, Elvin knows what I'm talking about, like the strategy. What's your
I get what you mean, because yeah, I agree. It's a solved game, but my main problem with it is it's still just very luck based because of the roll of the dice.
roll of the dice.
Of course, there's an optimal way. Like you get the sixes and the eights.
Mhm.
If you get the sixes and the eights, then you will be resource rich. But the fact that there's a lot of dice happening, and there's always that seven happening with the
Rubber.
thief with the
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a lot of luck involved in the game. So I get what your problem is with the game, and I also feel that when you said that it's a solved game, but it really has its place where it's an easy to understand game for somebody who wants to go beyond Monopoly.
Yeah, I think the place for Catan is
Mhm.
you play the game, you enjoy it, and then it's good until you realize that this is how you play it, and then it's bad.
Mhm.
Which is like right, but there's this like few days, months, year where it's good.
Yep.
Right. So
And at the time it came out, it was in the early 90s.
Yes,
It basically started the modern board game
revolution.
revolution. Before that, there were a lot of you would call games with modern mechanics
Yeah.
before it, but Catan really broke down doors. But also, Catan came at a time when Magic the Gathering was already out.
Yes,
Oh, really?
So that allowed Catan, because now a lot of the comic book stores and a lot of the hobby stores were now carrying games because of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Now, these stores were also interested in other games. And that's
Mm.
how Catan was able to get that wide retailer base. It was because there was already a retailer base for Magic.
when it first came out,
Mhm.
I remember I reading it in Inquest, another old school magazine back in the day.
I actually thought it was older for whatever reason.
Catan came out
Maybe because of the box art.
mid 90s.
95, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
around
because
that
of the box
95.
art.
And I remember reading it because there's like, wow, this game is so interesting, because they were doing a lot of different games, and a lot of the things, set collecting, these things are actually present in Monopoly. the dice, the roll of the dice, the random
Except
dice.
no one knows it is present in Monopoly.
That's
Because
the thing.
everyone plays Monopoly wrong.
Exactly. But that's the thing. They cut out a lot of the things that Monopoly had, which made it a little bit more complex. Essentially, if you look at Catan,
Mhm.
Catan is just like one street of properties,
Yeah.
except they split it up into these hexes.
Mm.
And then instead of crossing go to collect your
Mhm.
money, it's whenever the dice is rolled to the specific
Yep.
place that's there. Then they added the trading part making it overtly part of the mechanics instead of just whenever you
Mhm.
land.
Yep.
That made it so that, okay, I have a choice to make. If I build towards the port, I can trade more effectively because
Yeah.
No, but
the rules
the
are
problem
there.
is
Yeah.
like what we discovered is as long as you play efficiently, you don't even have to trade.
You don't.
Right? That's the thing. Like I want Catan to be good because everything about it is good, except that there's an optimal way of playing it. Where
And
if you play
only-
this way,
that's
you
it.
win. And we tried it because this was all Spikes playing, and I chose that method like 7 times or something, and
Mhm.
just no one can beat it if you play it like that. So
Yeah.
we're not playing this
But-
game ever again.
Yeah, but even now, even today, I think Catan has its place.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's that position when I'm done with Monopoly. It's a bad game. Now I want to try something else.
Before you
So
move
that's a
on
good
to the more
transition.
balanced
It is.
games. Yeah.
It's the game that starts giving you choices.
Mhm.
Mm.
And that's, I think, it's one of the big revolutions that it has over Monopoly. Because Monopoly's choice is either do you buy or do you not? Do
Or
you,
you trade or
you trade or not?
bid. Yeah.
But in Catan, where you build your stuff,
Mhm.
even the first choice, the playing of your road, your first road and your first house, really dictates how your game will go, and that decisions and the decisions that come after that is what I think
Yeah. I
Catan
think our
forced
conclusion for Catan is it's for newer geeks. Is
Yeah,
that a good
it's
term?
it's the first one that you
First-
want to get,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad first one that you should get.
Oh,
Yeah.
so how about you guys? Games that you love or hate,
Uh,
or not love or hate, but like
this is almost a joke with me and some of my friends. I always say I don't like Agricola.
Yes.
Oh, why is it?
I think my friends who like Agricola just remembered me.
Yeah.
Why is it because everyone else likes it and you don't? Or
I understand how good the game actually is as a game. However, I find the theme
Boring. There you
and it takes forever to
takes
play.
forever. It's also semi-solved.
Well,
Semi, because
Yeah.
there is one optimal way of playing it, but you can race to that
the
to
problem,
that thing.
the reason why I think it's not as solved is because if you do that and somebody is also doing that, the person that is not doing that and is playing the second most optimal strategy will benefit because you
no,
cannot cannibalize
not really.
you do you cannibalize people. Don't you have a common pool that you get from?
No, but
you
the
cannibalize.
only because the way you win Agricola is you just go for getting
Have
the-
many
the fa-
children.
the fastest way of getting as much children as you want.
Yeah.
And there are multiple ways to do that. I think if I
Bread. I think I remember bread. Bread is like
or there's
key
like
thing
there's
Just keep
no
everybody
there's no
fed. And
scarcity
then have
of
lots of babies.
there's no scarcity
of resources.
for the resources you need to make children. So it's
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
make children as fast as you can, and that's it. So it's good, but
Yeah.
I slightly prefer Agricola to Catan though. It's just that it
Yeah,
takes
it
way
is-
too long.
It is.
It is definitely a much
More complex.
more complex and a much more modern game,
Mm.
Agricola. But like I said, like it takes too long, and
just
I
takes
think
too
it
long,
teaches the wrong lesson for our modern society. Like, oh, how do you win the game? Have more children.
Oh, but you say that, but remember the biggest, like, I don't know how our listeners feel about Elon, but this is not a joke, but like, remember what he says, that the biggest problem of the human race right now is underpopulation. Oh, what's the term? Population decline?
Actually, Elon is right
Right. Yeah.
for first world countries.
Yes.
Mm.
However,
For us.
globally, what he's saying is utter bullcrap.
Mm.
Why? Because overall, global population is still kind of stable.
Yeah.
Except that the population increase and decrease is not evenly distributed. So you look at areas like Africa,
Yep.
Philippines, we have a lot of people. India has a lot of people. However,
Yep.
the developed countries have decreasing populations. which is causing them problems. So it's technically their problem, not our problem.
Yeah,
So I think
exactly,
that's still
exactly.
benefits. I think when we switch from board games to population,
Population.
but I think
Well,
it still benefits. I mean, it's still slightly better now to have children than like 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Like,
When it was a problem, and I agree with Elon in half. Like
I think it's,
for
it's
certain
I think
things, but
it's
not for.
yeah. I think Elon is always just half bullcrap,
Half,
but like
half.
there's half true.
Yeah. Well,
He
that's what
makes-
happens.
He
when
makes a lot of sense.
But that's what
like-
makes it fun.
Yeah. But that's what happens when you start talking about Agricola. Remember, Agricola is like based on the
Yep.
the ancient
Yep.
French farmers, right, or something.
yeah, when actually that philosophy of having more children actually works because you'll have more people working on the farm.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
serfdom. Serfdom. If you're looking for serfdom, that's the game. But Agricola is still it's still fun. I agree.
It's way too long.
It takes the benefit that you get unless you're really into farming.
If you're curious, by the way, listeners, there's a party going on next door. So I'll try to EQ that out, but we'll see.
So when it comes to board games, though, like one of my favorites is a game that it takes too long as well,
Mhm.
but I really, really love it. I haven't played it in so long. Game of Thrones. I really,
It's
really
too
enjoy.
long.
It's too long. I agree. But it's a game that
But I think they made it faster with like
the second edition.
yeah,
They did. But it's just so much fun because it literally replicates the
I
show or
played
the
it
game.
before reading
Yep.
slash watching, and to me it didn't. What I'm trying to say. If you didn't watch or read Game of Thrones, then no,
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I like the game also
Yeah.
because the game forces you to actually follow
Yeah.
the actual
Like,
storyline.
why do you want to take King's Landing? Why do you want to hold Harrenhal?
Mhm.
If you are a Stark, why did
Yeah.
what's his name? What's the father's name?
Uh,
So the Starks,
The Stark's father. Yes,
Ned,
Ned.
Ned, yeah.
Boromir.
Yeah, Boromir. Boromir Stark. When Ned said that we have to capture Harrenhal in the board game, you capture Harrenhal. If you capture Harrenhal, the South cannot attack you. It's such a strong thing, and the only way that you'll be attacked is by the Greyjoys attacking you from the sea,
Yeah.
and then they'll literally attack Winterfell,
Yep.
just like what happened in the books.
Yep,
If you don't secure it, they'll attack you in the sea, and that's the thing. The other board game is Eclipse, which takes also long. But it doesn't have the thematic. It's not as thematic as Game
But
of
I think
Thrones.
Eclipse is more accessible.
It's a better game, and it's faster.
And
but
people have fun arranging their
tableaus, yes. Have you played Eclipse, Freddie?
I haven't actually.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of good things about it. The people are saying it's the better Twilight Imperium.
Yeah.
In a
Considering Twilight Imperium is like 12 hours.
That's kind of like the biggest problem. It's not as flavorful as Twilight,
Yeah.
but it
It's not 12 hours.
exactly. It's not 12 hours. It's not 10 hours.
It's still 4 hours though.
It's still 4 hours long, and it's 10 rounds.
Oh, no, the thing is, like, if you and me and someone else with the same familiarity with Eclipse would play it, it's probably 2.5 hours.
yeah.
It's
Well,
only
I've played
4
it.
hours when you because you
Teaching
always have
somebody new.
To teach it
you're
somebody
always
new.
teaching one person.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I've been able to play it with like seasoned players,
Hmm.
and it takes around 2 hours to
I
two
think
and
the
a half.
fastest we played it was 2:15, including setup, which
Yeah.
is not bad.
Yeah, and it's a pretty quick game. It distills everything that you have for a war game. You have exploration because you're literally
It's
expanding.
literally a 4x game.
It's
so-
literally a 4X game. So you're exploring from your starting solar system. You're exploring different parts of the galaxy. There's elimination because you're fighting. When you encounter not just your enemies, but there's like neutral ships that you can discover that you have to fight. You're building your armada. You're harvesting resources. It has a tax system that's crazy because your actions cost money. Money in the game is important because money allows you to do things, and you can go into debt.
Mhm.
And if you go into debt, suddenly your colonies, your borders shrink because you don't have enough money to continue extending your control over these
Mhm.
places. And so, yes, I love Game of Thrones more, but Eclipse is such a better game.
The thing I like about Game of Thrones more is I slightly don't like games with a timer.
Oh, the 10 rounds. Okay.
Yeah, when it's like a certain, which is also Lords of Waterdeep. I think also has that.
No, not
No.
Lord. What doesn't
Lord-
have a timer?
It does. 10 rounds.
I thought you meant like a
No,
No.
round clock.
It has a limit of time.
yeah, Agricola has that, and the games where it ends in a certain number of rounds. It's okay, but I slightly prefer those where you have a goal. Do that goal.
No, I prefer games with finite number of turns.
Oh, you prefer that?
Yeah, because I know I have to do this much within this much this
Yeah.
many actions.
Yeah, and it's really fun when you know there's an end to what you're doing.
Mm.
And that's actually where the end of the show is. So it's also a finite number of turns for our show.
3 turns.
Yes, 3 turns. Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Random Pinoy Geek podcast. This has been Elvin with Freddie and JR. And remember, it's okay to geek out as long as you know when to stop.